Hello, and welcome to this zTPFGI demonstration. zTPFGI offers integrated terminals for a wide variety of terminal types. In this demo, we'll look at the various terminals that are provided within zTPFGI. The terminals provided by zTPFGI can be categorized into those that are used to run commands and receive output, and those that can be used to trace transactions. Command terminals include Linux, ZGI, and zTPF. These terminals can be used to input commands and to receive output. Trace terminals include ALC, Consumer Finance, and Local 3270. There is also an Alc Printer Terminal, which receives output from commands that are run in an ALC terminal. Let's take a look at each of these terminals in turn. First, let's take a look at the Linux terminal. As this terminal interacts with Linux, you do not have to be connected to zTPF to access it. Simply click on the Linux button to open the terminal window. Let's expand the window for a clearer view. Like other windows in zTPFGI, you could also choose to undock the terminal from the main window or move it so that it is docked elsewhere. But for now, let's just make it bigger. Now let's see it in action by entering a couple of Linux commands. Let's try printing the working directory or getting some network statistics. Each terminal can be closed, and it can be reopened simply by selecting it again from the ribbon menu. Notice that closing the terminal has not cleared it, but just removed it from view. Notice as well that zTPFGI remembers our layout and size preferences. To clear a terminal window, just right-click it and select Clear Window from the pop-up menu. Next, let's connect to zTPF and take a look at some of the other command terminals. When we connect, the System tab becomes available. The System tab includes buttons that allow access to the other terminals. First, let's take a look at the other command terminals. Like the Linux terminal, the other command terminals can be used to send commands and receive replies. Let's open a zTPF command terminal. Notice the unique identifier in the top bar of the terminal window. In zTPFGI, each programmer is allocated their own resources so that they don't need to share resources with others. This is possible because each programmer is allocated unique IDs or line IATAs for each of their terminals. Each terminal's ID is shown at the top bar of the terminal window. For each of these terminals, if we want to keep a record log of our transactions, we can open a message log simply by right-clicking the terminal window and selecting Message Log. This creates a text file in the editor that records the input and output for the terminal. When we're done, we can just save the file to keep the log. Let's enter the Availability Washington Chicago command as an example. Now let's open the Alc Printer and ZGI terminals. Notice how each terminal opens in its own window. We can switch between terminals by clicking on the tabs. Let's enter a ZGI command. First, we make sure that we've selected the ZGI CMD option from the drop-down. Then we can enter the command. We can also use the ZGI command terminal to run exec scripts. First, we must select ZGI CMS from the drop-down menu. Then we can enter the command to run the script. If we want to save this output, we can right-click the terminal window and select Copy to New Editor, and the contents of the window are copied into a new file that is opened in the editor. We can access the trace terminals via the Active Resource drop-down menu. The most recently accessed resource is available by clicking the button. Let's open an ALC terminal and run an ALC command. If we want to trace this command in source view, we simply need to lock the files that we want to trace into source view before running the command. To trace at the macro instruction level, simply define the macros and programs that you'd like to stop in before running the command. To find out more about tracing and debugging programs, please watch the various demos about tracing at the source and macro instruction levels. Now let's take a look at the Alc Printer Terminal. This terminal accepts output from Alc terminals. We can see the Alc Printer Terminal in action if we run this test command in the Alc terminal. As you can see, the reply is displayed in both the Alc terminal that originated the command and in the Alc Printer Terminal. Now let's open a consumer finance terminal and run an example command. Once again, in order to trace the command, simply define the trace criteria before submitting the command. And here's an example for a local 3270 terminal. zTPFGI also provides an asynchronous trace facility that allows us to define specialized trace resources that can capture and let us trace messages that originate externally. To find out more about this, please watch the Asynchronous Trace demonstration. Thanks for watching this demonstration of terminal emulation in zTPFGI. To find out more, please watch some of our other demos that are available, take a look at our brochure, or contact us for further information.